I think it's very early to forecast at this point of time. For the most part, the AI models that you are going to buy as the end user, they are going to have their own sort of data and model that they are going to be trained on. So I don't know how much data they are going to require from the internal perspective. There might be some models that might utilize your internal data as well. But again, that's slightly early to predict at this point of time. So my assumption in this, and we are all forecasting, nobody knows how this is all gonna shape up. But if you really think about it, most of the AI agents, what they are able to do is they are able to access data from many different data stores, data storages. So I think the question about centralizing data may not be as relevant overall from the insight extraction perspective. Your transactional systems are still going to remain as is. The ones that are going to have some sort of transactional processing power, such as your CRM, ERP, etc. But for the most part, if you look at the whole insight extraction layer, that's where you are going to see a lot more changes. Some people are arguing that, hey, this is all, the transactional applications are all going to become black box because you will only be interacting with these prompts. So even if you want to capture a lead, capture sales order, capture some sort of project, you are simply going to prompt and then something is happening in the background. So you sort of don't know. So I think what AI can do is AI can access a lot more data storages. So I don't think the centralizing of data is going to be as relevant. But again, I think it's early to predict at this point of time how the whole architecture is going to work in the future.
Sam, why don't we turn the conversation into how do you think people adjusting? I read fantastic article in terms of how many not approved tools people bring to work.
Yeah.
AI tools, all
Yeah.
right? And of course, every organization is trying to figure out what's our policy, what our strategy, right?
Yeah.
What's the approved and trusted set of tools?
Yeah.
And yet up to 50% of employees bring something on their phones, on their computers that they find very useful. Where that is gonna go, you think?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question as well. And in my mind, and based on my experience with these things, it's always going to be a very political argument, right? You can have these centralized controls, you can have IT, but then most people end up hating them because they don't want too much control, in terms of the access, especially if they feel that the tool does not require any sort of control, approval, etc. So they are probably just going to buy on their own. So I don't know, how you can control that. That's only going to increase, because what AI is going to do is AI is going to change the whole interaction model, and your backend is going to be the black box. So for the most part, right now, if it is 57%, then that's probably going to be 80% in terms of buying cycle. In my mind, when I look at how this is going to go in the future, AI is going to make it easier for people to procure technology, and that comes with some sacrifices that you are not going to have as much control, I guess, from the centralization perspective. So that would be my take on that.